Hello everyone, it's been a while since I last streamed. In this stream, I'm gonna try to make a tunnel animation. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I think I'm going to figure it out. Now let me see if the stream is running well. Okay, yeah. I can see it. Let me see if I can hear this. If the audio is good. Yeah, I think it's good enough. Okay, let me see how can I'm thinking of using the ellipse tool, like using this with the effect, the repeater. So I'm gonna make a circle here. I'm gonna disable the fill. I don't need the fill. Place that there. And I'm going to start with a white stroke, not so big, something like that. I'm gonna call this ring. I'm gonna center with Control Home and Control Home. And let's see how can I make this tunnel animation. I'm thinking of using these modifiers and using the repeater. I don't know if it will look good, but let's try it. Okay, let's try it with the repeater. First, let's move the copies to be in the same position by drawing here the position in the transform of the repeater. So let's set this to 0. And let's try playing with the scale. Let's see how it looks with the scale. I'm gonna make more copies. Let's try with 15. And I have to make this. First, I'm going to try to make this to be like a infinite loop. So let's see if I can achieve that. The scale. This. And I think here this is the offset option. And I think if I animate the offset option, okay, the movement is a little weird. I'm gonna try to move this less. Yeah, we have a smooth motion there. Let me try with the scale in the other side. Like if it's going to the infinite. And I can move this. Yeah, I can move this to the sides. How can I make this? Okay, I can make this smaller or to be bigger. Okay, I think I'm going to make this to be smaller, like this. And I'm going to make this ring to be bigger. So I'm going to search the size property here of the ellipse and make it to go over the screen, to be outside the screen like this. There you have it. And now I'm going back to the repeater. Here to the repeater properties. And now we already have this. Yeah, kinda working. I'm gonna make this to have more copies, like 30. Oh, okay, it's looking good. And let's see if I make this to be fully centered. Hey, hello. Glad to have you here, Sen-sama. Trying to make this a tunnel animation. I'll try to make these streams more consistent. I don't know if each day, but it will be each 1 or 2 days, I think. I'm just trying to make effects, and so you can see how I make those effects, those animations from zero. Okay, I'm gonna make this to be bigger, the ring. So I'm gonna increase the stroke size, something like this. And let's see how this works. Okay, this is a little too flashy. I don't know why this is offset, because you can see the center is not right in the center. I don't know why that happens. Let me see if it's the transform. No. Okay, maybe I should move the position. Well, first I'm gonna try to make this to move to one side, like that. And more important than anything is to make this like to be a loop. So I'm gonna loop out these 2 keyframes with an expression. So I'll click the stopwatch, and I'm gonna use the expression loop out. You can see this loop out with the parentheses. Just press enter, and here in quotation marks we are going to set this to be I think cycle. Let's try with cycle. This works good. Yeah. It works. Sorry, this is like too flashy. How can I make this to be better? Okay. Let me try if I increase the scale of this stroke. Okay, but it loses the depth. So maybe if I add a blending mode. Let me try some blending mode. I think I have to make this decrease the opacity. And now I'm gonna try with the blending mode. Okay, I don't know if I have to change the blending mode of the whole layer or just the repeater. I don't know if I have like a blending mode here. Transform keeps. Okay, the stroke have a blending mode. Okay. Transform. I don't know why this is not working how it should be working. Because let's see, if I create a mask here, no, I'm gonna create a shape. And to this shape, I add a overlay blending mode. And it should be like have less opacity so you can see the other ring through this shape. But I don't know if it's not working because of the color, maybe. Let me change the color. Oh yeah, I think it was because of the color. You can see when it's pure white and it have the overlay blending mode, it's not like see-through. But when I make this to be darker, it have like a lower opacity. Okay, so I'm gonna change the color of these rings. Instead of white, I'm gonna make this like gray. Increase the opacity and see if the overlay works. It doesn't work because it's the same, all in the same layer. I don't know how I made this. Yeah, I can do that. I do mainly logo animations. That's what I'm focused in most of the projects. I do logo animations, and sometimes I do something like more promotion, more explainer videos, but mainly logo animations overall. Let me see this. Oh. I'm out of idea of how can I make this. I think I made this once and I was able to make each ring like transparent. You can see each other ring um, like if it were a glass. But I can't make that now. Well, I'm gonna make that later. I'm gonna make this smaller, something like this. And I'm going to keep doing this animation. Now it's like too flashy, this animation. So I'm gonna add a background with Ctrl Y. And yeah, something like this color. So it's less flashy. Okay. And I change this color to be a orange. Let's see how it looks. Okay. I'm gonna change the blending mode to normal. Something like this. Okay, it kind of works, but it doesn't feel like really 3D. And one of the things that I want to accomplish with this animation is to be able to something like make this tunnel to have like turns. Like for example, no, here the repeater. And transform properties. And for example, to start with the tunnel here at the center, and then move the position to one side. But this moves the entire tunnel, and that's not an effect that I want to accomplish. Okay, try with this. Okay, this part looks good, but here it looks weird because you can see like any turning points there, and then you can see the whole tunnel starts to move to one side. Okay, so I'm gonna start from here, like if it were already moving to one side. Okay, I'm gonna add a ECs here because you can see it looks a little too snappy. I don't really like the the value graph. I prefer the speed graph. But sometimes the value graph it's also really helpful. It depends on the animation. Okay. I wonder if I can make each ring to have like a different color. Maybe I can make it with a duplication. If I duplicate this and offset by a bit, something like this, and change the color to an orange, maybe. Okay, now this looks really trippy. Maybe if I increase the stroke width. Oh. Let me try with this. Okay. But that's just like changing the background. So I'm gonna try to change the background color to a darker orange. Let's see how it looks. Okay, it still a little weird. I think that duplication is not really necessary. No, but I do. Okay, no, this one. Okay, I have to delete this one. This will be the ring. Can I change the opacity maybe? So when it goes, no, it's like coming. Yeah, the rings are like, no, are coming or going? Like, are they scaling up or scaling down? Because the ring starts here, outside the screen. Let me see. Oh, okay, it's because of the offset. I'm gonna make the offset to be okay. There is like going forward. But here's the problem. You can see there disappears and then starts again. So this should be a negative value, want it or not. Okay. And I'm thinking instead of doing this to be a infinite loop, to make it to have like an end. Hey, what's up, Hamed? How are you? I'm trying to make a tunnel animation here, but I'm struggling too hard. Instead of making this to be a infinite loop, I want this to end at one point. So I'm gonna disable the expression with a click here. Where are you from? Me? I'm from Argentina. Where are you from, guys? I don't know who is watching this. Okay. Let me change the offset. So to make this to be looping and then reaching one point that will end, I'm going to copy these keyframes, move one frame forward, and paste them with Ctrl V. And let's see, it looks good. Okay. Let me try again. Oh shit. Yeah, it looks good. So I'm gonna make this one more time. And here I'm gonna move the offset until... Oh shit. But here's the problem. If I move the offset too much, it disappears from the beginning. From Armenia. Wow. That's from Europe. Okay. My PC, I have a bad processor. I have what it was, a Ryzen 3. It is from first generation, I think. So it's a Ryzen 3 1300, something like that it was. And for the GPU, I have a GTX 10 no 10 no 1650. So it's a good GPU. It works well for all the programs I use. The only one struggling always is my CPU because it's like a old model of Ryzen. Yeah, it's Ryzen. Radeon is the GPU, I think. Okay, how can I make this to disappear from from the end. I want this, like this tunnel to reach one point that the tunnel ends. Oh shit, this will be so hard. Ah, okay. If I move the offset in the other direction. But the thing here is, if I move the offset in the other direction, it will start to go backwards, I think. Let me see. Why it disappeared? Oh no. It works, I think. I know what the fuck I did, but it works. I don't know why here it disappears from one moment to another. Yeah, I don't know why this happens. And near to Europe. I used in the past Premiere Pro, but that's mainly for video editing only. But for animation, obviously, I'm using After Effects. But for video editing, I'm using CapCut just because it's like more simple. It's like more minimalist. So yeah, it's more comfortable for me, the CapCut than Premiere Pro. Though Premiere Pro, I know it have like a lot of features, but I'm more comfortable with CapCut because of the shortcuts and all of that thing. Because I mainly use CapCut to trim the videos, and that's all. That's everything I do for video editing. And if I have to make a complex thing, I use After Effects. And I try to make everything I cannot do in CapCut here in After Effects. I don't know why in this point. Oh shit. Why in this point like it disappears? No, I have to increase this. I don't know why it disappears from one moment to another when it reaches minus 53.8. That's weird. Ah, okay, I have to move the anchor point to center this. And now it's really at the center. Something like this. It's kinda ugly. It's like really ugly, this tunnel. Okay, I remember searching for tutorials of a tunnel animation like this, but they are always like a loop. I don't know how to end this. Maybe by moving the scale. Let's try. I wanna try. Let's test some things. If I increase the scale, what happens? That's weird. After Effects, I've been using this program for about 5 years, I think, because I started in 2020. So yeah, 5 years. And the first moment I tried this program, I remember that I loved it. So that's why I still make all of these animations. Mm-mm. How can I make this tunnel to end? And just with the end opacity, what happened with the end opacity? And if I move the offset, okay. If I move the offset, they start to become less transparent, like more transparent. But that's not the effect I want to achieve. With this scale, this works like really weird. But I think I can make this with the scale. Okay, so I'm going to copy this keyframe, paste it here, and just increase the scale, and let's see how this works. Okay, I'm gonna animate this scale to 100%, and when I go beyond 100%, it goes smaller, I don't know why, and then disappears. So let's stick out with 100%. Wait, that kinda works. Kinda, because it's not working how I really want it, but something is something. Because this is not a really real 3D effect, it's just some ellipse scaling down, so that's why it's so hard to make this to have an end. Okay, let me try if the blending mode works. I want this to be like transparent, but if I decrease the opacity, that decrease the opacity of the whole layer. But I want the rings to be like see-through, so I can see the other rings through each ring. So you can see I never did a tunnel animation like this. I didn't have anything planned, so yeah, so you can see how I plan my animations. Animating the copies, do you think? Let's try with that. So if that doesn't work, maybe I should look for other method instead of using the repeater. Let's see. Oh shit. Repeater copies. Okay. First, I'm gonna move this scale keyframe. And let's try animating the copies. First, let's see what happens. Ah, yeah, it could work. Let's see. Let's make a keyframe here. And here, let's set this to 0. Let's see. It's like too fast, so I have to make this slower. Maybe if I make this keyframe to start from here, if this works, you Ahmed are a genius. Oh, okay, it kind of works, but I don't know why it's too fast. Maybe if I start with less copies, with 24. What? What happened? Ah, this happens because they are too few copies. So I'm gonna have to start from here. Let's try with 20 copies. No. 24. No. I'm gonna try. So I don't want this to the end to be visible yet. And just here at the end to see the end. Yeah, you're a genius, Ahmed. It worked. Let's see. Okay, I have to increase the copies because you can see here in the end, here at the middle, that there are not enough copies. So I'm going to increase this. And if you wonder why I have this in quarter and not half or full, it's because how I told you early, because my CPU is a little too bad and my PC sometimes crashes or lag, so I'm going to stick with this pixel animation. Okay, it kinda works. But it's too fast. The problem is that if I make this to take more time, it stops. But if I make this to take more time, the offset, it will slow down. Yeah, you can see there. So I'm gonna make this to keep moving. Maybe if I can make it. Let me see. Um, I don't know if I can make this to keep moving. Okay, it makes a weird thing there. -7. Okay, this should be the other way around instead of, because they are decreasing. You can see -4 to -5, and I made the opposites. I make this to start increasing. So I have to decrease the offset, let's say -14, and let's see. Okay, it kind of works. Yeah, I think it works well because I moved the same amount of frames, and in this same amount of frame it moves the same amount of value, that is -7. From here is the offset is 0, here is -7, and here is -14, so the speed is constant. Okay. That's a way to fix it. But I'm gonna try to make this to take longer. How many frames are between this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 35 frames. I'm gonna move 3 times. 5. And I'm going to move this here, and I'm gonna set this at a -7 there, so it makes the math for me. And it kind of works. But it's still a little off. Let me see how can I fix it. If I increase the offset, nah, it just goes faster. If I move the copies last keyframe to end early. Okay. It looks kind of wrong. Let's see here if I make this to take more time. Okay, it works, but I want this to like reach the end of the tunnel and not to make the end to reach us. So maybe if I just keep decreasing the offsets, I'm gonna try with -50 and move it forward. Okay, that looks much better. And if I don't animate the copies, what's the result? Okay, I think I made it. I think that was it. So the end is like -30. Let's try. I'm gonna move this here and set this to -30. And that's it. I reached the end of the tunnel. Okay. Let me try something. Yeah, I don't know how I make this to reach the speed to be always constant, because if you go to the graph editor of these keyframes of the offset and you zoom a little bit here, you can see the speed is not equal, because I moved this forward, so it takes more time, so the speed is slower. But I don't know how I make it before here to maintain the speed constant. Ah, it's not constant, or it is. Let me see. Oh no, it's not constant. So that's a way that you can see if the speed is constant if you change the speed. And to fix that, you can move this keyframe, the last keyframe, to reach a point that the speed is the same. Or I think that if I move this, no, that just add a curve. But there are some ways to make this to be constant. One is going to the last keyframe, so you can change the value. And if I go to this cap and I change the value, you can see, let me see if I can nail this there. By changing the value, you can make the speed to be constant. That's one option. Or the other option is by moving this in time, so it's faster or slower. You can see if I move this closer, you can see the curve is like bigger, because here have like a lot of speed. It's in negative because the speed is going in a negative value, but each like peak of this is because there's a lot of speed in that point. And you can see here I have like a little problem here, but it's not really, you can't really see it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. But if you want to make a perfect animation, that's a way to change the speed to maintain the speed constant by changing the value of the last keyframe or by moving that keyframe in the timeline. So I'm gonna move this closer, and I'm gonna alt click so it doesn't make like a curve. If you alt click that, it becomes a linear keyframe again. Something like this. See, everything is going well. Yeah. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works. But it's like too slow. It's reaching that point really slow. So I'm gonna make this faster, to be faster, by grabbing all these keyframes and move them all together by pressing Alt, and move this to be closer. If they are close together, the animation will be faster. Okay. Let me see if I make this faster. Okay, that's too fast. Something like this, maybe. Yeah. But these lines are like too flashy. So let me see if I increase the stroke width here. Well, you cannot see the tunnel anymore if I increase this too much. Let me think of a solution to this. If I decrease the copies, no. If I increase the scale is not in use. Okay, if I decrease the scale, it's like they are moved further apart from each other. My eyes. But it's still like too fast. How can I fix this? Okay, maybe if I decrease the number of copies. No. Okay, yeah, I think it works. But it's still like too flashy. The scale. And if I move the scale to be close together, it looks slower. Yeah, maybe I like that way, but I have to increase the copies because you can see the copies when they trim out. I don't know how can I make this. The rotation. Let's try by scaling, increasing the scale. If I decrease it, they are further apart from each other, but they are like too fast. If I make them slower, okay, maybe if I make them slower, move further apart from each other by decreasing the scale and decreasing the number of copies, maybe something like 20, 25 to 20. Okay, I kinda like it like that. I'm gonna move this more over here. Oh yeah, it looks good like that. Okay, now if I increase the stroke width, Let's see how this will look. Okay. Let me think of a solution to this. Because they look good, but the animation is like really flashy. It's hard to see it. Mm, Let me think of an alternative to this. Mm, if I make a duplicate. Mm, if I make other duplicate. Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, I can see the parts that the velocity change. Let me see if I move this, like here, it will stay static. Okay, for the moment I'm going to leave it. Mm, Okay, I can use this tunnel animation to work as a transition, and here at the end of the tunnel I can make a mask, so to make this tunnel to reveal other screen, other animation, other whatever. But here it takes too much time to disappear, so I'm gonna delete this. So it just loops one time and then disappears. Okay, I'm gonna see if the speed is constant by going to the speed graph and zooming in with the Alt key and the wheel of the mouse. Okay, we just have that. Uh, Let me see if I can move this. No. We have that little error. That's when the loops happens, but everything else works well. So I'm gonna take it. Okay. What happens if I cease this? And add a increase the handle of the speed. Well, that's really fast. Hmm. Now, I'm gonna leave it as a linear keyframe because with ECs in that keyframe, it makes the velocity in the tunnel to be faster in this point and then slower. I want this to be always the same velocity. But it looks kinda flat. So I'm gonna add a ECs and I'm going to ECs this path by a little bit. Yeah, just with that ECs is enough for me. Okay. Now let me try if I decrease the stroke width. If I make the stroke width to be really thin. Uh, looks kinda weird. So I'm gonna increase it again to 300. Okay, it works. See this? Um, oh, we already are at 1 hour of streaming. That's a lot. So I'm gonna end this stream soon because I don't want this to be too long. But we already made this. Mm, but let me search for something here. Mm, 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 mm. Mm. I'm searching of ways to make this tunnel to be better because now it's kinda lame. Mhm. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna try some effects. First, I'm gonna try out the some adding a adjustment layer, or I can add it directly to the shape layer. But first, I'm gonna try it with an adjustment layer. So here, I'm gonna add some lens. Let's see, CC lens. Oh, okay. This doesn't work really the way I wanted. Oh, or it can work. Let me see. No, no. Let me try it in the shape layer. Like this looks really weird. Um, Let me adjust this until I have something decent. Okay, it doesn't affect this too much. Okay, there. Let me see with that effect. Okay, I think no. No, my After Effects is dying. Let me stop it. Okay, let's better not use this effect. I'm gonna clean the cache. Um, Other effect is by uh, editing the stroke, and here we can add some dashes there. Oh, this looks really cool. I like it. And taper, I don't think this is really necessary. So for the moment, just let's try with the dashes. And with the wave, nah, no. Just let's try the dashes. Maybe doing something like this. And adding a time expression to the offset. And adding a cap of 50. And animating the offset with a time expression. So time times 250. That's a little too slow, so I'm gonna increase this to 500. I mean, it could work, but it will be better if I make the duplication. But they are like too many copies. I want this to have like fewer copies. So let me see if I decrease the scale of the repeater. Where is the repeater? here repeater, scale, and decrease this. So they are moved farther apart from each other. And decrease the copies. Oh, now this is like too fast. And they disappear when they are at 14. So I'm gonna move this to 14. No, they are still present, so 15. And move this with alt click to take more time, so they are slower. Okay. It works well, but here you can see it moves really fast, and then this move slower. So I'm gonna move this here. Oh, that's really nice. I really like this. But now that they are fewer copies, you can see this little error here. Maybe if I move this close together to each other. Okay. -7. Okay, what I'm going to make here to make this little gap to be seamless, I'm gonna leave a space here so I can create a keyframe there. I'm going to make this offset. Oh, sorry, forgot of this. Okay, I'm gonna make this offset first. I'm gonna see how much is moving each frame. You can see this frame, the offset is at -7, and one frame before it's at 6.9, so it moves 0.1 value number each frame. So I'm gonna set this to -7.1. Oh, sorry, -7.1. And I'm going to take a screenshot here. So with this little icon of the camera, you take a screenshot or a snapshot. And if you go forward, you can preview that snapshot with this eye icon next to the camera. So if you hold that eye, you can see the image you took a snapshot. So I just make that keyframe to take the snapshot. Now I can delete it. And now I'm going to go to the first keyframe of the buckle of the loop and make it to be exactly the same as the snapshot. So I'm gonna move the offset to be exactly the same. So I have to make this a little bigger, like this. And there you have it. And now let's see if it still looks weird. It's perfect for me. It's really nice for me. Okay, now I can make some duplication of this with Ctrl D, duplicate, offset in time, move it in the timeline by 2 frames, 3 frames, 4 frames. So it's right at the middle between the other rings. And here I'm just going to change the, let me see, the stroke. I'm gonna edit the stroke dashes, so it looks a little different. I'm gonna click here to delete the gap so it fills the gap automatically, and I'm going to make this really tiny.